So let's start the discussion with why we're here. And so what is the purpose of our panel discussion today? And so first and foremost, we want to recognize HBCU soccer programming. And for those of you who may be unfamiliar with the space, HBCU soccer has a very rich and storied history. And several of the panelists today have written that history, and we are honored to have the opportunity to hear from them today. Second, we're going to have a discussion about how HBCU programming impacts our communities and culture in various ways. And then we'll finish the discussion today on what next steps look like for how we can grow the number of HBCU programs throughout the country, and then what that means for players and coaches in our community. So we're going to move into our panelist intros. I will start. I'm Jason Gross. I am a former member of the Howard men's soccer program under Keith Tucker and Curtis Landy. I am currently working as the head coach of women's soccer at Trinity, Washington University in DC. And I'm going to say good afternoon to Coach Lincoln Phillips. If you can just give us a brief intro into your connection with the panel and what you're currently doing.
My name is Lincoln Phillips, and I've been involved with the soccer since 1968 on the professional level with Baltimore Bays, and became the coach at Howard University in 1970. That was my first year, 1970 through 1980. And during that time, that period is referred to as the golden era of soccer in Howard University. We won 2 NCAA championships and got into several Final Fours. I can't remember right now, but that was indeed a golden era of soccer. And we were very fortunate to have Keith inherit the team, who did an excellent job in getting the team, on the field, qualifying for the NCAA, and most importantly, after his jaunt at a coach at Howard University, he played an immense role in the community. As far as I'm concerned, right now I'm retired, but I'm still involved. My son, who has a speed and agility business, it's called Inside Out Performance. So between him and I, Derek, we work on goalkeepers, me specifically, of all ages, and helping them, perform well and get strong and technically sound. So I spend my days now with him, and obviously my 2 granddaughters, who are very, very good soccer players. And I'm also very acutely involved in the community in Colombia. And so those are the things that I'm doing right now that keeps me involved.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that. We're going to go down the line to my former coach, amazing man, Keith Tucker. Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
My name is Keith Tucker. I did 4 great years under Coach Phillips. Then I went on to take the team after assisting him for a year. I was there for 27 years. And during that time, I was also a community worker with a program called Washington Youth Soccer Association, which we went around and recruited young kids and formed teams, which was our monitor right there is one of my first recruits, and he was and also a captain of the Howard team. So I'm still involved in with DC Scores now, not doing the hard work. I'm just taking my time and getting old and enjoying the smiles that so many of you young coaches out there putting on the faces of these kids. I smile every day because of you guys' efforts. So glad to be here, and I hope I have something that can add to your success.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. My partner in crime, Averick, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Averick Parker. I currently live in Buffalo, New York. I am a youth soccer coach with Empire United Soccer Academy. I'm also an assistant coach for FC Buffalo, who play in the NPSL. And I guess you could say that I'm the camp director for HBCU ID camps, which Jason has been a very big part of in helping me get this off the ground.
Thanks, Avery. Kevin, afternoon. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Everyone tuned in. My name is Kevin Larry. I'm the head coach at Alcorn State University in Lorman, Mississippi. It's 30 minutes south of Vicksburg. Biggest battle of the Civil War was fought in Vicksburg, which is my hometown. And that's 30 minutes north of Natchez. And, I'm originally, like I say, from Vicksburg, Mississippi. I grew up playing club soccer in the area, and my claim to fame is just the best soccer player on my street growing up. That's about as as far as we go as far as my playing accolades. But I did grow up playing, and used to get a magazine when I was a kid called Soccer America, and that's how I learned about the Howard teams from '88 and '89, and Coach Phillips, and I just developed a love, for the game because of them, and that's the reason I wanted to play in college, even though I wasn't good enough to play at that level. Those are the guys from that era that inspired me to continue to play, and here I am today. So pleasure meeting you guys.
Nice
Pleasure meeting you too.
Yeah, awesome, Kevin. Thanks for sharing. Philip is want to pop back into the chat, but Coach Tucker, I think
We're getting some interference
if
here.
you could introduce Phillip Gyau.
Say it again, Coach.
I didn't hear that question. We were getting some interference. I didn't hear the question at all.
Okay. I was asking Coach Tucker to introduce Phillip Gyau before he returns back to the chat.
Oh, Phillip Gyau is the present coach of Howard University. He was recruited by myself, who I'm very proud to have had a little bit of time with him, but he was an All-American player coming out of high school. He did a number of years with the United States national team. He has speed to land. To watch him on the American team back in the day, I have a problem with that because I'm still upset that he didn't go to the World Cup. I'll leave that to him. But he was a great young man who works in the community, works at every level of soccer he can possibly work at. I still learn from him every day. Good young man.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that. So we're going to move into some general discussion over the next few minutes. And what I thought would be important for the audience today is to talk a little bit about how HBCU programming has really impacted your life, right? And I think in this panel, we have multiple generations represented. And so, this is an open forum at this point. If anyone would like to start with how HBCU programming has impacted their life, feel free to jump in.
Let me start first because what I am right now, I owe it a lot to Howard University. I came to the United States to play professional soccer, as I mentioned before, with the Baltimore Bays, and I had a very good background in coaching in the Army in Trinidad. And after the demise of the professional league, I coached the Washington Darts in the Washington area, and that was in 1970 when they were playing the game in quarters, and during that time I had done a whole lot of clinics. That was one of my strong points, and I got introduced to a gentleman by the name of Coach Ted Chambers, an old gentleman. And he has started the program since 1939, after 39 and 41. And he's an old American gentleman who recognized that on the Howard University campus, there were several international students who really did not have an opportunity to bond with the other students and the other sports and so on. So he created cricket and a football soccer program for the international students. So he was like an angel for us. He started everything for us. And one of the things that Coach Chambers did, he was an avid, advocate of coaching clinics and seminars, and he had a wonderful relationship with the community. It was extremely strong in that respect. And from that, from Coach Chambers, he actually passed on the torch to me. And I got involved, in the community, in the recreation departments, and I had a lot of my players. We did clinics upon clinics in the Washington area, in the Virginia area. We did a lot of clinics. We even had some of the local soccer teams, the Italian Cadets, the British Lions, and so on. We played a lot of practice games with them. So we had them come to our campus. So we were really immersed in the community. And I was very happy to see that when Keith came on board, he did the same thing. And then obviously Philip Gyau did the same thing. And that's what we have to do to build soccer in the community and in our HBCU. And while as a coach at Howard University, I saw the opportunity to go to school. Yes, while I was coaching as a head coach, I took a full load in my undergraduate. And that was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life, because I was probably a C student, in some of the classes with some of my players who were A students. So it was a very humbling experience, to say the least. But we worked off of each other. I was a professional. I taught them how to play soccer, and they sometimes helped me with the academics. So it was a great experience for me. There's no saying that coaching is an art and teaching is a science. Okay, and when you combine the two, then your coaching is going to take off. Then that's where I felt that my coaching took off, because I felt that coaching was an art. I did very well in that respect, but the science of coaching, the care and prevention of injuries, the development of young people, okay, the psychological approach to coaching, all these things I learned in school at Howard University, and it really helped me to become a much better coach on the professional level again. So I owe a lot to Howard University, and I'm very pleased to see Keith come in and do so well, and of course Philip. Now Philip and I, we've had a long relationship. His dad, Joseph Gyau, they used to call him Nana, was one of the premier soccer players in the Washington area. And while coaching the Washington Darts, I coached Philip Gyau's dad. And then Philip Gyau's dad introduced me to Philip, who was then 12 years old. And he was just kicking the ball like an adult. And he came on and did well. And then Philip had a son, Joseph Gyau Jr., and I had the opportunity to develop a program where he was involved as a player. So I've had a long relationship with the Gyau family. And Howard University, or whatever I have achieved in life here in the United States, I got it from Howard University, and I'm so very thankful to the athletic directors, to Coach Chambers, Dr. Anderson, and all the people and administrators who assisted us at Howard University. I'm very, very thankful for their assistance.
Yeah, thank you for that, Coach. Open forum, so you guys can jump in.
I guess I'll try to follow that. For me, and something I didn't mention in my introduction is that I played my college soccer at Morehouse College. I also majored in business marketing there, and I just feel like I owe my career to Morehouse and them having a soccer program at that time. Once our program was dissolved, I got the opportunity to work in our athletic department, which led to an internship with DC United. And then that later led to a full-time role for me at the Houston Dynamo on the front office side. So, if it were not for that experience, I doubt that I would have had the opportunity to jump on with an MLS team. That was back in the day where, they just wanted to know that you understood soccer and hopefully you had some playing experience as well. So, they would know you had a passion for the game and the league. So, and that's something that I think kind of needs to be highlighted when we're going out and talking about HBCUs to younger people. Even when you're an athlete, you're going to get the support off of the field or off of the court as well. Your professors are going to make sure you're going to class, make sure you're up to date on your homework assignments and all that type of stuff. It's a little bit more one-to-one than if you go to a larger school and a larger conference than going to an HBCU.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll chime in here because I am probably the one who benefited the most from this lineage here on the call. So Coach Phillips, thank you for giving Coach Tucker the foundation because that was how I got involved with soccer. And for those who may not be familiar with Washington, D.C. at a time of the late 80s and through the 90s, when I started, soccer didn't exist in my community. And Coach Tucker was the one that brought soccer into our community. And that unselfish thought to introduce a game to an inner city community is why I am here today. He was the reason why I attended Howard. And he created the start of a community that is still together today. And the power of the village that is present here on this call is very robust and has supported not only myself, but many of the inner city kids that have gone through Howard and are still either coaching or involved in the community in some way through football at this point in their lives. A part of what I'm hearing and what you guys have passed down is really also the power of self-value, right? How I view myself coming out of a community where we don't or did not recognize ourselves as being as capable came through this sport and what you guys passed down to us through Howard and through the community work that you guys were doing. And then, even down to Philip Gyau, who is, graciously allowed me to come and work with his men's team, right? Like that give back, that support, that pulling the next generation up is how we continue to move our programming forward and help make sure that the next generation is going to be secure and that they can pay it forward to the ones that are coming behind them. So that's been my impact through HBCU programming up until this point.
Jason, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, man, thank goodness. Well, I just want to just say a couple of things. I am just so thankful to Coach Phillips and, of course, Coach Tucker. The link between Howard University and myself was through Coach Lincoln Phillips. And, I've known Coach all my life. It's because of him that I'm here. And I can honestly say that. And then Coach Tucker, me coming to Howard University, treated me like his own son. And for that, I'm just forever going to be thankful. But Coach Tucker gave me a chance to grow as a player. I know I came into Howard University as a young man. I was a little bit immature at that time. I was a good player, but immature. And, he was patient with me, treated me like a son. and allowed me to grow as a player. And I'm forever thankful for that. Howard University has taught me so much, you know, and it's because of Howard that I'm here. I mean, I'm lost for words, but anyway, I am just so thankful for Coach, him and my father. He coached my father. He coached me. I played for Coach Phillips in high school with Sheldon and Sean Phillips. I used to do Coach Phillips soccer camps, you know, and till this day, you know, he's always concerned about me, you know. Anytime I'm having problems, he's always reaching out. And I know I'm not very good in terms of, like, sometimes returning calls, right? But I'm running all over the place. You know, I'm trying to do 3 things at the same time. And just, you know, that has not been forgotten. You know, I am just so grateful to what he has done for me. And of course, Coach Tucker, Coach Lundy, you know, Coach Lundy, of course, passed on, but he was like a mentor, big time mentor, father figure. And these guys have done so much for the soccer community. And it's I think it's about time that we start talking about those people and start blowing them up, you know, because they really deserve it.
Absolutely. Kevin, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. So I grew up in rural Mississippi, where soccer is not king. Let's just be honest. Football and baseball and basketball. But I had an older cousin who played, who I looked up to and wanted to be like, and his name was Sharon. He played for the most part at a high level. He went on to play in college, William Carey College. But that's who's, you know, really was the first person who I really identified with, you know, as a soccer player that I, you know, wanted to, you know, aspire to be like. Fast forward, I lived in Phoenix from 2000 to 2006. And even though I didn't know it at the time, I played in the men's league. And when I was playing in the men's league, we practiced on the field. And at the same time, it was a gentleman. I don't know, some of you may know him. I think he's from Trinidad. His name's George Dukes. He was training kids on the field, and I would just, you know, stand and watch and see some of the training sessions he was doing. And again, I didn't realize it, but I was soaking up that, you know, the information that I was getting while I was standing there, because he was another black man that looked like me. So when I did get the idea that I wanted to coach, you know, that jogged my memory of, you know, being in Arizona and saying, hey, I remember this guy, he used to do this. And I still use some of the exercises I used to see him use in Scottsdale to this day. Alcorn is where I am the head coach at now. And when I decided to coach, I was living in North Carolina, and I just took it upon myself to drive to Mississippi, and I decided I was going to volunteer at Alcorn. And I didn't know anyone at the program. I just made up my mind as what I was going to do to get my feet wet. And Alcorn was an outlet that gave me the opportunity as a volunteer to get into coaching at the college level. I coached there for a year and went back to North Carolina. I was lucky enough to meet Anson Dorrance, who gave me a spot on the staff as a match analysis member of, you know, breaking down film and just doing some of that kind of work. And I just continued to matriculate and educate myself as a coach. And Shaw University, where I graduated from is a HBCU, and they were starting a soccer program. I reached out to the gentleman who was facilitating that venture, Louis Cottrell, and told him that I was interested in being a part of it. And he gave me an opportunity. So I was a part of the staff that started the program at Shaw University, and I went on to graduate. I was a little older when I graduated college, obviously, but I graduated from Shaw with a degree. So the HBCU experience has really been an intricate part of my journey, you know, as a soccer coach, giving me the opportunity as a volunteer. Shaw University giving me the opportunity to get paid at the college level, and also giving me the opportunity to obtain a college degree, which I'm very proud of. So you know, the HBCU is a unique experience. One thing I will say about it, being at Alcorn and being from Mississippi, is that it is a family-like atmosphere, and people take care of you, and you know, it's a home, a communal like setting, and it's one that, you know, I encourage people who are thinking about it to venture and, you know, go down that path, because it's one that, you know, is unique, but it's one that you will remember for a lifetime.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I think that family feel is also felt here on the panel today, of what we've heard so far. I want to dive into some specific questions for you and Coach Phillip Gyau, because you guys are currently working in the HBCU space at the collegiate level. And I want you to talk a little bit about how you see or program in a way that impacts your student athletes and their personal and professional growth.
You want to go first, Coach, or want me to go?
Yeah. I didn't hear the question clearly. You got a little glitch here. Can you repeat it again, Jason,
No,
please?
So for Kevin Larry and Phillip Gyau, because you guys are currently coaching at a HBCU, I want you to talk a little bit about the impact that you guys have had on your student athletes in terms of their personal and professional growth.
Oh, I mean, I can go now. Well, my first recruit, Joel Cunningham, I'll fast forward to now. My first recruit, they've all graduated. Joel Cunningham, Lloyd Pierre from Trinidad, when I first took my Trinidadian trip to recruit. I brought in Lloyd, and you know, he ended up being the class valedictorian, started for me all 4 years, played every single minute, and ended Howard University with a 4.0, perfect 4.0. Wow. Graduated, got a scholarship to University of Delaware Med School, and he's doing an excellent job. And I can honestly say, when I first started, right, because I remember back in the old days where Coach Tucker was coaching at Howard, the team was averaging a 3.0 or better all the time. They were all the people that we saw were Bancroft Gordon, Gigi McPherson, Donnie Street, and all of those guys, and outstanding students as well as players, right? And so coming in Howard University, that was just my mindset, to make sure that my players were doing the same thing. And then so I stayed on their backs with their academic workload, and of course, improve as a team. But now it's difficult. You know why? Because back in the old days, Coach Phillips was able to get those national team players, Nigerian national team players, Trinidadian national team players. And then now the pot is a little bit smaller, because every university is trying to get those type of players, and it becomes difficult, right? But my job is to make sure that they graduate and become outstanding citizens. And I think I'm doing that now. And hopefully this year we can have a great season on the field as well. But they're really doing well in terms of graduation rate. I've graduated 99.9. There's only one kid that didn't graduate in my program, but everyone else has done that.
That's awesome, Coach.
That's good stuff, Coach Gyau. At Alcorn, I coach the women's team, and you know, I'm the only one on the staff as of right now, so I'm responsible for the collective well-being of about 22, 23 young women. So, you know, that has its challenges that sometimes, you know, 23 different personalities, young women from everywhere. But at the same time, I do take in consideration that, you know, I have daughters, and one day I will send them off, hopefully, to play collegiate soccer, because by the time they get to college, I'll be too old probably. But I take that in consideration when I'm dealing with them. You know, one day I'm gonna have to send my daughter off, and I want to treat people's kids the same way I want someone to treat my kids when they're in their care. So again, sometimes I get it right, but for the most part, I do my part to try to be fair and make sure that they're getting a great experience with me. The reality is, if one of them goes pro, then we would be lucky. But at the same time, they all will be, you know, people of the community, they would be employees, they would be mothers, they would be wives, and I try to give them, tools to help them be prepared for those challenges once they reach them. So it's a big responsibility. I don't shy away from it. It is challenging, but at the same time, I seek advice from people who have been doing this at the highest level, like Kadani at USC. He's somebody who's a great outlet, and it's a few other people that I reach out to. Andre Fortune, who coaches in North Carolina from time to time. So I seek advice when I don't have the answers, and I do my part to try to make sure that these young women are prepared for life once they leave Alcorn.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kevin. Now I got to circle back to our legends here, Keith Tucker and Lincoln Phillips, for a minute, because you guys have been involved.
Real quick, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'd be remiss. I left something out, and if someone's looking at this, I don't want them to hold it against me. I was the assistant at Jackson State University before I came to Alcorn, and the athletic director, Ashley Robinson, is great for the HBU experience. He gave me an opportunity. He wished me well when I took the Alcorn job, and Jackson State also was an intricate part of my journey to get to where I am. So I couldn't leave that out.
Yeah, no worries, Kevin.
Hey, but then let me say one thing. I want people to know that besides playing for Coach Phillips all my life, because he was the person responsible for getting me onto the national team, because at that time he was like one of the most influential coaches in America, of course, and with the national team coaches. And he called Bob Gansler about me. And that opened up so many doors for me, and I can go on and on and on, but we only have 1 hour, so that's it.
Yeah, no.
Let me jump in here just for a minute. I'm just feeling emotional, to be quite honest with you. To see what has transpired with the young people who have passed through, me and Coach Tucker and so on, and it came from Coach Chambers. It's like a relay. It's a responsibility that we have as coaches. We must understand that doctors save lives, but coaches make lives. We are responsible. We have a huge job. You don't really, some of us don't really understand the impact that you make on an individual just by being good to that person. Just by that person might have problems at home, and just because you understand him and you talk with that person, give that person some kind of inspiration to go on. So our coaching, in the old days, our Black folks looked to the church for guidance. The Black church was very influential in our development. Now I think that coaching, because so many of our Black folks are climbing the social ladder and getting involved in businesses and so on through sports, because there's so many sport-related businesses. And now I believe that sport is the next institution that is responsible for the development of our young black players, black youth. So we need to do like these guys, just keep the ball rolling. Okay, keep developing these guys, keep them with their education, be strong on them, because some of them are going to block you because they're young. Some of them are going to bug the system, but we have to be patient and stay with them and do a good job as far as their education and their attitude towards winning and development.
Can I get in there right now, Jason?
Coach, you can absolutely jump in. You guys are on theme. I was going to ask a question about how we're impacting culture, so please feel free.
Well, I would like to see the HBCUs get involved in the community, because soccer players are not developed at 12 years old onward. Soccer players start at 3 and 4. And that's what they're doing in the white communities to starting players off. But we don't have those leagues yet. There's where we need to get our efforts put in. Around DC Schools has, and I'll give them a shout out because they're doing a fantastic job at introducing kids to soccer. Has about 40, 50 schools around the city, and they're playing a little league. And they get about 6 to 8 games a season. But the talent just by touching this ball, everybody talks about, who wants to be number one, but number one is putting a kid and a ball together and show them what they can do with it for the next 15, 20 years. Going to school, they're going to get there if you set a good example and do what we've all been saying. We are actually community developers, but we also are human developers. And that's the most important part of our effort should be placed right now in how to develop youth soccer leagues, how to develop youth clubs surrounding the HBCUs. Right now, Howard is in the center of Washington, D.C., and we still don't have what could be an excellent soccer program. We got all the coaches in the world right here, but we got to get down and get to those 3- and 4-year-olds and get in the communities and show them how to organize a club. You gentlemen who are doing the club work right now, they got to know how to put not just a team together, a club together, and have those role models show them the way to success. I've heard people talk about want to be a coach at a university and so forth, but I want to be a phys ed teacher so I can go back and get Jason Gross, Phillip Gyau, get them running down the field, doing all that stuff with the ball. I want about 100 of them on the field. And I'm going to say this to you. I saw France playing, who they play yesterday? I'm watching France, beautiful soccer players. So I know the kids will enjoy themselves with the ball and they will follow the coaches who will lead them the right way. But our community needs soccer programs, leagues, clubs. Our community needs churches to get back involved to house those programs. And that's where any kid who's going to college should put some effort into the surrounding community of these HBCUs. We need that type of effort right now. And you don't have to know how to play soccer to be a coach. As many of the white community parents show their kids how to play this game. Just put them out there for ball and then bring in some college kids and show them. But we need to organize our community, right? I mean, seriously, we need to organize because there's so much they can get from the coaches and then from the colleges if they are associated and given the time to come to those colleges or be associated with the students of those colleges. And like I said, it could lead to be a doctor. But that's my effort, because that's all I'm thinking about right now. Is how to join us all together and make a community.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I agree with Tucker 100%. And then see, Jason, you see how we're all thriving with great men like Coach Phillips and Coach Tucker, Coach Landy, late Coach Landy. I genuinely can tell you that, I have nothing but the utmost respect for these three gentlemen, and the way they brought us up as players, treat respect, even when we weren't on the straight and narrow, right? And I just can't say enough, and then Coach said that, we can bring out doctors as well. Yeah. I told you that Lloyd Pierre graduated as the class valedictorian, and now he's becoming a doctor. I gave him his first scholarship. He came in on some academic money, but I gave him athletic money to have him, to put him on a full scholarship, right? And I keep in touch with his parents. I keep in touch with him, all the guys that graduated from the program, just like how I kept in touch with Coach Tucker and Landy. When Coach Landy came, I was bringing him to all the Howard soccer games. I would bring him to my office and just make sure that he was having a good time, just seeing some of the young players play. And I learned all that from you guys. And then so I'm just thankful for that.
Yeah, thanks, Coach Gyau. I think what we've heard so far in the last little bit is about what the importance of grassroots, but also the importance of HBCU programming being involved in the grassroots community, right? Because we have to get involved to make sure that we're pushing the narrative forward for our own people, right? We can't depend on other universities to do that. And I think that's a good segue into sort of part of what this conversation is about today, and how we continue to grow the number of HBCU programs throughout the country. And I know Averick he came up with the brilliant idea of having a nationally attended HBCU camp, which we have, several of the HBCU campuses who've already committed to coming. So Averick, could you talk a little bit about what your thought was for that process and what the next steps might look like for us to improve the number of programs in the country?
Yeah, so just with the ID camp specifically, at the end of last year, it's sort of an initiative that United Soccer Coaches and the Black Soccer Coaches Advocacy Group took up to kind of help promote and raise awareness of our HBCUs, while also providing opportunities for coaches at HBCUs and players at HBCUs. So it was kind of left at that point, and the idea just popped in my head one day. We should do an ID camp. And it's something I wish I had when I was coming out of college, or out of high school, going into college and looking to play soccer. There wasn't much information about which schools had programs outside of Howard University. One, to kind of serve as an information piece for student athletes who want to attend an HBCU and also play soccer. But two, just kind of helping them, put them in a position where they're in front of coaches who are looking to identify talent. Some of the coaches touched on it earlier, Philip Gyau touched on it earlier, that when Coach Phillips was coaching, it was a lot easier to go out and get international players from the diaspora, from Nigeria, from Jamaica, from Trinidad. Now all the other programs followed his lead and they've caught on, right? So that pool's a lot smaller. And then, to the other point, there's still these community programs that have talent. They might not be as developed, but there's talented players in those programs. So what we want to do is go out and make all of those types of players aware who, they may not be D1 level, but they could play Division II, Division III, NAIA, JUCO, stuff like that. Have them come attend our camp, and hopefully we can place them at an HBCU. And I think that's part of the first step. And Coach Tucker touched on it. The other part of it is involving, being an HBCU involved in these community programs, and helping these communities understand how to build clubs and train players so that they are, when they're old enough, they're in a position to get identified by D1 level programs. And that's one of the things we're actually going to do at the camp. So on the day after, we're going to partner with Soccer in the Streets. We're going to have a community clinic at the West End MARTA station in Atlanta, Georgia, which if you're familiar with Atlanta at all, that's right up the street from the Atlanta University Center, Morehouse College, Spelman College, Clark Atlanta College. I know, Jason, you're going to participate in that as a coach. I'm going to be there as a coach. I'm hoping Coach Larry will jump in with us on the MLK Day that following Monday, to jump in as well and participate in that event. So it's just getting the ball rolling. If this first camp is successful, we would like to mimic that blueprint in other cities. I don't think there's a silver bullet. It's a pretty heavy lift, right? To kind of get our programs the notoriety we feel they deserve. Part of that's money, part of that's talent, part of that is coaching. So, but that's kind of where I see the short-term vision of it.
Fantastic.
Okay. So, yeah, Averick, I don't know about coming to the West End, bro. I'm not No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'll definitely be there. But I want to play devil's advocate for a second when we talk about things we could do to get more Black kids to attend HBCUs and play soccer. We have to make sure that at HBCUs, we are providing them a quality experience. And so we have to do our part to attract the kids that want to come to HBCUs, and that's with, the facilities and just the things they would get if they went elsewhere. We have to make it appealing to them. I know it's not always as easy. It's sometimes easier said than done, but the reality is sometimes Black people, we hold our own to a higher standard than we hold our counterparts. And with that, when kids are shopping the schools that they want to attend, those kind of things matter. So we have to make sure that when we're appealing to these kids to come to HBCUs, we have to give them a reason to want to attend as opposed to going to one of the PWIs. So I just felt the need to say that.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. We have about 4 minutes left. So if there are any final thoughts, please feel free to share out, but we are running short on time.
Yeah, let me jump in here. A lot said, and fantastic on all the panelists. But now what we need to do is to get more HBCUs offering programs. We have to first look into some of the HBCUs that have club programs. Okay, if you want to get a varsity program, then there has to be interest in that university athletic department. You don't have to start off right away as a varsity program because it's a money factor. Okay, and HBCU are perennially strapped, with finances or lack of finances. So hopefully, we need to find out what it costs, okay, to run a varsity program financially, how to sustain it financially. We've got to know all of this before we start attempting to have varsity programs. At Howard, we are very lucky. We have Stephen Curry, who came in and says, here's some money, okay, let's get a golf program going, okay? And we as folks in the Black Coaches Association, we need to petition these guys, these basketball players and football players who want to put some money into something for Black people. We can try to get more millionaires doing just like Stephen Curry. Now, as the club programs, you don't necessarily have to be a varsity program. There are a lot of leagues, the NPSL, the NISA, the PDL, or club programs in these universities can enroll in these leagues, right? Even the PDL, some of the graduate students can play in those teams. Let's, for instance, Howard University, we can call FC Howard. They can play in these leagues, and they're as members in the community in these leagues, we can do, again, more clinics and get involved in the community and make sure that the university gets a lot of recognition. And once the university, they see that we may not bring in a lot of money, but we're going to bring positive recognition to the university as a result of our community involvement, there we will have buy-in from the athletic directors who can say, well, yes, we can take a little money from the football, we can take a little money from the basketball and give it to soccer because they're doing something good for the university. Okay, so that to me is one of the ways that that we can encourage the club teams to turn into varsity teams. And most importantly, we have to understand that it's a cost factor, and we've got to come in with some kind of money, some kind of backing from the Boosters Club or something like that. So that's my contribution in terms of what we should do to encourage to develop more varsity teams in Black schools.
Coach Phillips, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the panel today. I think this is probably going to be the first of several of these discussions. We certainly need to circle back and get a chance to engage our audience a little more about questions they may have, but we are out of time for today. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been phenomenal. You guys enjoy your weekend, and we will see you guys again soon.
Excellent job, Josh. Thanks a lot, everybody.
They got me working on Juneteenth.
To everybody, keep the ball rolling. And Black Coaches Association, especially Nicole for leadership. Yes. Okay. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
everybody.
Keep going, guys.